We all took it very hard when we got the call that he had been murdered. He was shot at a gas station and left for dead.
It's story time. The Carnival Man, submitted by V. Good afternoon, Sapphire. This story happened to me back when I was a teenager. I'm 45 now and love your channel. I am a sensitive, and this experience was the first to start my journey with spirit. I was a senior in high school when my uncle passed away. I was very close to him. He was like a second dad and always looked out for us. We all took it very hard when we got the call that he had been murdered. He was shot at a gas station and left for dead. My sister and I took it extra hard as we grew up with his kids and saw him almost every weekend. He was funny, sweet, and always telling us spooky stories. Whenever we would visit our uncle's house on the weekend, we were allowed to go anywhere in the house we wanted, except my aunt's bedroom. They said she had a lot of breakable things in her room, so she just preferred to lock it and not allow anyone inside, ever. We never thought anything of it, as we only wanted to ever play outside with our cousins anyway. I couldn't really function in my everyday life very well at the time. My mind kept going to how alone he must have felt in his final moments. All alone at this gas station. How scared he must have been. I just wanted to know he was okay. I missed him so much. My boyfriend at the time saw how hard I was taking this and said he wanted to take me to this pop-up carnival in the parking lot of the old Kmart. He wanted to get my mind off things and get me smiling again. I agreed, and we drove over right as the sun was setting. We walked up to the entrance and saw this man trying to get into the carnival, but for some reason he couldn't get inside. I walked up and was about to walk into the carnival when the man tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around, and he was wearing a hooded jacket. The hood was on and covering most of his face as he looked at the floor. He said they wouldn't let him in the carnival, but was wondering if he gave me the money, if I could win him a prize at the old balloon dart game. He handed me a couple bucks, and I agreed. I asked him what prize he wanted if I won, and he said, the mirror with the picture of the eagle on it. My wife collects eagles and would love it. I agreed and walked over to the game. I played twice, and on the second turn, I won the mirror. I walked over to the man and told him I won. I handed him the mirror, and he said, "Thank you so much. I appreciate it more than you know." He then did something strange. He took my hand and said, "I am okay. No need to worry." With that, he looked up at me with a comforting smile and then walked away. My boyfriend looked at me and saw tears streaming down my face. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't talk. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. My boyfriend shook me and asked me what was wrong. I finally broke free of whatever was holding me, and I said, "That was my uncle. His face, his voice." I started to run after the man, but as I got closer, he disappeared. My boyfriend and I flipped out. I screamed at my boyfriend to get in the car and drive around the parking lot. The old Kmart was closed and nothing else was on this huge property. There was no way he could have gotten far without us seeing him. I had my boyfriend drive the whole parking lot searching for the man, but he was gone. I began screaming, "That was him! I know it! He looked and sounded just like him!" My boyfriend consoled me and took me home. I went home, told my sister what happened, and she simply said our uncle was saying goodbye. Just wanted to let me know he was okay. It was a hard week to get through, but that weekend I went to my aunt's house to check on her. I hugged her, and she cried. My cousins were there too. We all talked for hours about the good times with my uncle. It felt good to remember him like that. My aunt then walked into her bedroom and asked me to follow her. She wanted to show me the obituary for my uncle. I followed my aunt into her bedroom. Not gonna lie, I was excited to finally get to see the inside of this room that had been locked up my whole life. As I walked in, I looked around, and from ceiling to floor, there were eagles. Cabinets full of eagle statues, posters, pictures, and paintings of eagles. I never knew my aunt collected eagles. I didn't even know she liked them. As I scanned the room, I looked at the bottom of one of her curio cabinets, and there, sitting behind the glass, was the same mirror with the eagle on it that I gave to the man at the carnival. I screamed out to her, "That mirror! Where did you get that mirror?" She looked over at it and smiled. She said, "Your uncle gave me that mirror on one of our first dates." I fell to my knees and wept. For the first time since I heard the news, I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. I told my aunt the story of the man at the carnival, and she cried too. I left her house later that night with a heavy heart, but a smile on my face. My uncle was okay. And best of all, he was still with us.
Oh my gosh, I love this story. It is very rare for my mouth to drop open when I read a story, but that happened multiple times. It's funny, there's multiple moments in this story where I thought that it was going to go in this sinister direction. Like, you have an aunt who doesn't let anyone in her bedroom, and then there's this hooded man who wants you to win a prize for him. It's so strange, but it all ended up being so incredibly sweet and beautiful in a way I never could have imagined. So thank you so much for sharing this. Truly amazing.
Thanks for joining me today. And did you know that I offer bone and tarot readings? You can schedule a session at StoriesWithSapphire.com. Salamat and good night.